almost all politicians nowadays are interventionists, as in they think it's our duty as a nation to get involved in conflicts, say in the Middle East, where it's going on a lot recently, even if they don't necessarily protect our own national interests, and think it is our duty to do those things. And the Democratic Party was the past decade or so is supposed to be the party of non-interventionism. Barack Obama definitely ran a campaign in 2008 in ending the wars, bringing our troops home, and not getting involved in these conflicts anymore. But he didn't exactly go through with that as president. And now both the Republican and Democrat establishment really support this whole idea of kind of creating an empire all over the world. Now, I don't want to make this video all about Ron Paul because I know you're probably sick of hearing about him from me. But he's often called an isolationist because he doesn't believe it is our duty to get involved in these world conflicts that aren't necessarily about our direct interest. Because what happens there is it's first of all it's a waste of money. Second of all, it has its own consequences. He thinks part of the reason 9/11 happened is because we didn't mind our own business, and that it's a CIA term called blowback. Many people in the CIA believe that our actions overseas in things that aren't necessarily about us, but when we help new governments or dictators rise up, it has its own effects later on in the future. Yet, because of this view, he's called an isolationist. Now, I don't see it as isolation, isolationism at all, considering a true isolationist, it's not about getting involved in other countries or not. If we were an isolationist nation, which Ron Paul does not support, is an isolationist nation would block the world off from America. They would support high tariffs, which would prevent free trade among nations. We wouldn't be getting products from other countries. We would only be worrying about ourselves. We wouldn't allow culture exchange. We wouldn't want other cultures to have their products in here. We'd only want our own products. We would bar off immigration in order to protect our own interests and keep this view of just America. And that is the opposite of what Ron Paul wants. He thinks we should have as open a relationship as possible with all the world, open up free trade. It has nothing to do with isolationism. In fact, I think it's less isolationist than the interventionists who think we should create this empire around the world and block ourselves off. They're the ones who support tariffs. They're the ones who support trade sanctions. They want to block off the rest of the world from them. Sure, they want to get involved in the world, but I mean, I don't see it as isolationism to not want to kick other people around. I see it as you don't see yourself in a position to get your nose in where it doesn't need to be. And the there's no basis for calling. I mean, no politicians really are true isolationists now. I mean, last time I really remember that happening is something like ancient China. But just because Ron Paul, or there's actually many other politicians, Dennis Kucinich, a Democrat, his son Rand Paul, who don't think we should get involved in these wars and in conflicts that don't direct us, but that does not mean it has no correlation to being an isolationist.